The population distribution along the west coast of the United States is a fascinating subject, shaped by a combination of geographical, historical, economic, and social factors. While major cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Seattle are densely populated, vast areas of the west coast remain sparsely inhabited. This phenomenon can be attributed to several key reasons. Geographical challenges. The West Coast is characterized by diverse and often challenging geography. The region is home to rugged mountain ranges like the Sierra Nevada, the Cascades, and the coastal range, which create natural barriers to development. These mountains limit the availability of flatlands suitable for large-scale agriculture or urbanization. Moreover, the coastline itself is rugged and jagged in many places, with cliffs and narrow beaches that further restrict settlement. These geographical features make large portions of the West Coast difficult to access and develop, resulting in lower population densities in these areas. Limited water resources. Water scarcity is another major factor that limits population growth in many parts of the West Coast. Much of the region, particularly California, is prone to droughts and relies heavily on complex water management systems to supply cities and farms. The arid climate of areas like Southern California and parts of the Oregon and Washington makes large-scale agriculture and urban development challenging without significant irrigation infrastructure. As a result, population centers tend to concentrate in areas where water is more readily available, leaving vast areas with a limited development potential. Economic factors. Economic opportunities are a significant driver of population distribution, and many areas of the West Coast are economically less developed compared to the major urban centers. The high cost of living in coastal cities has also driven some residents to seek more affordable living conditions elsewhere, often in inland areas or other states. Furthermore, the economies of rural and less developed regions along the West Coast are often based on industries like logging, fishing, and agriculture, which do not support large populations. These economic concentrates have led to a concentration of a population in urban areas where more diverse job opportunities are available. Environmental considerations. Environmental concerns and land use regulations also play a significant role in limiting population growth in certain areas. The West Coast is home to a rich diversity of ecosystems, including forests, wetlands, and coastal habitats, many of which are protected by state and federal regulations. These environmental protections restrict development in order to preserve the natural landscape and biodiversity. For example, large portions of California, Oregon, and Washington are designated as national parks, forests, or protected lands, where development is either highly restricted or completely prohibited. These environmental considerations help maintain the natural beauty of the region, but also limit the availability of land for housing and other forms of development. Natural disasters. The West Coast is prone to natural disasters such as earthquakes, wildfires, and landslides, which can deter people from settling in certain areas. California, in particular, is located along the Pacific Ring of Fire, making it one of the most seismically active regions in the world. The threat of earthquakes, combined with the increasing frequency and intensity of wildfires, has made some areas less attractive for permanent settlement. Additionally, the steep terrain of the coastal mountains is susceptible to landslides, especially during heavy rains, further complicating development efforts. Historical settlement patterns. The history of settlement on the West Coast also influences its current population distribution. During the 19th century, much of the population growth was concentrated in areas with easy access to natural resources, such as gold mines, timber, and fertile farmland. Coastal cities like San Francisco and Seattle grew rapidly due to their strategic locations for trade and transportation. However, other areas, especially those with more challenging geography or limited resources, saw slower growth and remain less populated to this day. These historical patterns of settlement has persisted, with population clustering in established urban centers while vast rural areas remain sparsely populated. Urbanization and infrastructure. Urbanization trends have also contributed to the uneven population distribution on the West Coast. As cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco expanded, they attracted more residents due to the availability of jobs, services, and amenities. However, the infrastructure needed to support the large populations, such as roads, public transportation, and utilities, has not been equally developed in more remote or rural areas. High cost of living. The high cost of living in major West Coast cities has both attracted and repelled population growth. While these cities offer numerous opportunities, the cost of housing, goods, and services is significantly higher than the national average. This had led some residents to move away from coastal areas to find more affordable living conditions inland or other parts of the country. The high cost of living also discourages new residents from moving to the region, particularly in areas where economic opportunities are limited. Climate preferences. Climate preferences also play a role in where people choose to live on the West Coast. The coastal regions have a Mediterranean climate with mild, wet winters and dry summers, which is appealing to many. However, inland areas can experience more extreme temperatures, with hot summers and colder winters. The diverse climate zones across the West Coast lead to varying levels of population density, with more people choosing to live in areas with more temperature or predictable weather. Cultural and social factors. Finally, cultural and social factors influence population distribution on the West Coast. Major cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Seattle are known for their cultural diversity, vibrant art scenes, and progressive values, which attract a certain demographic. In contrast, rural areas may have more traditional values and lifestyle that appeal to different groups of people. This cultural diversity contributes to the concentration of population in urban areas where social and cultural amenities are more accessible. In conclusion, the population distribution on the West Coast is the result of the complex interplay of geographical, environmental, economic, and social factors. While the coastal cities are densely populated or continue to grow, much of the region remains sparsely inhabited due to the challenges and limitations posed by the natural environment, economic opportunities, and historical settlement patterns. Understanding these factors provides insight into the unique population dynamics of the West Coast. This lack of infrastructure makes it difficult for people to live in these regions, further concentrating the population in urban centers.